We started off this adventure in Cortez, Colorado with 8 riders. Day 1, Imogene Pass took out Elias.
The bike is in gear, so it doesn't go.
And day 3, the first expert section in Utah took out Kishore. Now we are down to 6 riders. Alex, Stephen, Piero, Casper, Hurek, and myself. I'm Dan the Photo Man. After a good night's rest at Needles Outpost, we get all packed up and ready to hit the trail. The road leading into Lockhart Basin is nicely graded with some beautiful rock formations that are only a hint of what's to come. Once you get past the graded road, it gets a little bit more technical with some sand, rock ledges, and some amazing scenery. And we aren't even officially in the canyon yet. It was hard to keep a good pace because everybody wanted to stop and take pictures. I can't say I blame them one bit. Okay, let's ride this canyon. I was a little envious of Alex on the 450 and Piero on the 500. I debated bringing my 450, but the 690 just carries the gear so much better, and it's nicer on the pavement. But man, when you get in this stuff, the 450 really shines. That guy up ahead of me there is Steven. He's 70 years old, and he's riding as good, if not better, than anybody here. And he can repair a bike just as good as he can ride it. It's very nice having him along, as he's already been very helpful in some trailside repairs. We're now deep inside Lockhart Basin. We've been wet and cold, and now the sun's out and it's getting warm. So we decided to take a break and take time for a few more pics.
Hang on, Steve. Oh yeah, you got a big drop there.
Yeah,
Do you want to go along here? Go off the edge? Or would you rather go down there?
either that or I can roll off right here even.
Okay.
Alright.
That's the line there. Straight down there. Okay, I'm coming. Wait, there's no point doing it yourself.
I just can't use my feet to get up.
Here comes Alex on the 450, making it look easy again. Hurek was also flawless on the 390 going up this one.
Right.
Myself, on the other hand, I look like a third grader going up. I've been riding off-road all my life, but definitely need more practice with this heavy gear.
I just knew it's going to hit that thing.
Casper said I thought about it too much. You know, I think he was right. I narrowly avoided being the third casualty of this trip. The toe was sore for a couple of days, but I'll be alright. So many photo ops. It's hard not to stop and take advantage of them. This is the expert section in Lockhart that most people refer to as the most difficult. We went down it, and to be honest, the group as a whole thought that going down wasn't very difficult at all.
It looks worse than it is.
It is, yeah,
absolutely. Yeah. This is the shit that they talk is so bad. This is hell.
Yeah, and that was not that bad.
You know, in the previous episodes where I was cussing the sand, it was along about now that Piero and I were praying for some sand. The technical riding here is a lot of fun, but it gets a bit rough after a while. Where is that soft sand? I've been riding in the Moab area for years. This is the first time in Lockhart Basin, and the first time on the 690 loaded with gear. Usually I ride the 450. There is so much off-road riding in the Moab area. In my opinion, it's one of the best places in the US. We're getting close to the end of the technical section of Lockhart, but we'll still have about another 20 miles of dirt before we hit the pavement and get into Moab. We made it out of the canyon. Now we're on Cane Creek Road. It's a nice graded dirt road with some beautiful scenery and turns into pavement right before you get into town. Remember that $16 a gallon gas I got at Needles Outpost? I think Casper is wishing he'd have got a gallon of that about right now. Pace always picks up when you hit the pavement, but it's even faster now because these boys are hungry and headed for the Moab Diner. It was a much needed break. We were thinking we'd make it all the way to Naturita tonight, but now it's looking like Gateway may be our final destination. As we leave Moab, we head northeast for a while on Highway 128. It follows the Colorado River. On the left side near town is Arches National Park, and off to the right is a massive amount of off-road trails like Fins and Things, Hell's Revenge, Slick Rock, Onion Creek, Top of the World, Porcupine Rim, and many others. Like I said earlier, this place is packed with off-road adventures. The trail heads southwest towards the La Salle Mountains when you leave the pavement and turns to dirt as you travel down Old Castleton Road. It intersects with Cocopelli's Trail as you approach the La Salle National Forest. It's an easy graded road, so we made good time. It was a little chilly as we got some rain on the way up, but as usual, the sun came out later and we warmed back up. This was a beautiful ride and a nice break from the rough technical parts of Lockhart. Once we left the La Salle National Forest and crossed over into Colorado, the terrain changed from the pine forest to a narrow canyon road. John Brown Road to be exact. We were just 4 miles from Gateway when tragedy struck. Some of the guys had pulled over a bit before a blind corner. Alex came around and couldn't stop. He went into a terrifying plunge off of what I would estimate to be about a 20-foot drop into a rugged canyon full of boulders. He ended up under the bike, but luckily in between two large rocks that kept the bike off of him. We were in a panic to get to him. Steven, who was having problems walking at all, just rolled into the canyon like Superman. I was hesitant to get the camera out because I was thinking this might not be something we wanted to remember. Wearing the proper gear, a bit of luck, being in your 40s, and physically fit were all factors in Alex walking away from this. He was a bit sore and one of his knees was hurting, but he was able to ride after we got his bike out of the canyon.
You're out. Oh, you're out.
It was a short ride into Gateway. Kirk and Alex decided to go on to Naturita on the pavement and get a hotel so they could further assess Alex's injuries. We stopped just short of the pavement at a primitive campsite recommended by the guys at Rocky Mountain ATV. I have to say, this was one of my favorite campsites of the whole trip, and best of all, it was free. I'd been adventure motorcycle riding before it was even a thing, and this trip has been one of the most epic I have experienced. We talked with Yurik and Alex. Alex's knee is swollen, so they're going to go ahead of us from the hotel in Naturita back to the truck. So we're losing another 2 riders. But the good news is Casper checked the WhatsApp for the ride group and Kishore is feeling better and wants to meet up with us in Naturita. Redemption time. The trail from Gateway to Naturita is so beautiful. My GoPro froze up. I thought the battery was dead and I didn't get footage of all the different terrain we passed through. So you'll just have to take my word for it. We had smooth graded roads like this one here, some open sandy areas, rough and rocky hill climbs, an alpine forest with smooth twisty dirt, and even an eerie burned out forest section. Caught back up with Kishore a little bit northeast of Naturita. He's going to finish out the ride with us on the Colorado BDR back to Cortez. A quick fuel stop, and then we headed back over to Blondie's to get a burger this time instead of breakfast. This is the official end of the Red Rocks ride for us, but since our trucks are in Cortez, instead of taking the pavement, we're going to go back on the Colorado BDR. Just a bit southeast of Saw Pit on Colorado 145 is where we left the pavement and picked up the first leg of the Colorado BDR, heading south. And wouldn't you know it, rain and cold again. Sure was good to have Kishore back with us. There's nothing too technical on this part of the Colorado BDR. Could be a little tricky on a large adventure bike in the mud, but overall, it's pretty easy. What a great way to finish up the trip. Thanks to Casper and all the other riders for the support on and off the trail, and a special thanks to the folks at Rocky Mountain ATV for mapping out and sharing this ride.